Is this working?
Hello and welcome to Alone in the Labyrinth. This is my second attempt at recording. I wonder how many podcasts begin with someone saying that. Probably all of the amateur ones and none of the professionals. Anyway, hope you're alright. Today this is going to be fairly quick. This is me re-recording my roundup of the previous Friday's 5 on Friday. 5 blog posts from the Library of Babel. Alone in the Labyrinth, my own personal reading list. So to start off, something that I neglected to do last time, please listen to Froth's Thought Eater podcast so that you can also catch the Hump Day Blogorama Roundup, whereby you'll hear every Wednesday an exhaustive list of OSR blog posts. And also check out the Dragons Never Forget blog roll, which I think has more than 400 RPG blogs on it. Very worth indulging in. Anyway, to link between those two elder gods of the blogging scene and another elder god. My first selection this week is the Secret SANTICORN The Secret SANTICORN post by DIY and Dragons, aka Anne. So this is a post rounding up Secret SANTICORN, which is an annual event held on the OSR Discord, whereby participants each write down on a spreadsheet set by Daniel Young, I think, of 10 Foot Polemic, laying out their desired Christmas RPG related gift, and then the names are put into an imaginary hat and reallocated, a bit like a Secret Santa that you might do at your school, place of learning, or work, employment, or church group, or other religious office if you're particularly open-minded. Anyway, I did participate in this event. I was assigned Sherlock Hole, who had requested 2 classes, or a choice of 2 classes. I ended up doing both. One was a Glog Aviator class for like a steampunk type scenario, and the other one was a Jazz Bard, which, and you can read those entries over on Alone in the Labyrinth. They're also linked in Anne's exhaustive list of Secret SANTICORN posts. What's great about this roundup, because I believe Anne Callaghan has also done something similar, but what sets Anne's apart is that she's arranged them by category. So we have posts to do with character concepts, posts connected to spells, posts connected to monsters, and then finally campaigns and adventures, wherein you will also find the Hexcrawl generator, which Mr. Screw-on-Head, aka Screwhead Macduff, made for my Secret SANTICORN gift, a pre-Roman Hexcrawl. So go and have a look. Also, we're all eagerly anticipating Arnold Kemp of Goblin Punch's contribution to this. And last news was that he had started to write a 12-page dungeon, and given his sort of inactivity on the blog, I'm almost worried that this Secret SANTICORN may have actually consumed him, and he will emerge into the light, clutching manically an enormous mega dungeon. But we'll all be the richer for it, so hooray! Alright, cool. Anyway, this blog post by Kayana at Noise Sans Signal is entitled Her Dream Envelops Us, and it's an example of one of those beautifully brief, poetic posts which many of the blogosphere, people with much more creativity than myself, are able to just occasionally drop. And this is a description of a dream and an idea that followed on from it. The seed of what could be a really, really interesting project. But just the opening description of this dream, was just weirdly moving. I don't know why. I think there's something familiar about it. I won't go into too much detail. It's just something that you need to read, because not only are you witnessing the birth of an idea, which may turn into something truly fantastic, it's just in and of itself, it's It's kind of a thing of beauty. Have a look. Alright, that's all I've got to say about that. That's Noise and Signal. Her dream envelops us. Over at Box Full of Boxes, a continuation of a Dying Earth bestiary, which has included previously the Deodand, and I can't remember what the second entry was, but this is the third entry, the Pell Grain. Now, what's interesting, like lots of Jack Fancy's prose, his description is often fairly spare of things which are glimpsed, and it allows you to fill in the gaps, and also to infer the unreliability of the narrators. So his description of the Pell Grain varies greatly, or that the only common thread is that it's a flying monster. There's numerous ways of interpreting that. What the author here has decided to do is each description describes the individual variation within Pell Grain, either at various stages in their life or not. But it's a good write-up, and also it's a really good series as well, because Vance had a huge influence on the origins of this hobby, or the tone of this hobby, and that kind of tone is something that a lot of OSR games, I think, seek to replicate. So going back to some Appendix N type material and bringing it into the modern world, in this case including 5th edition stats, it's a worthy goal, so hats off to you. And from Pelgranes, we segue seamlessly into peregrines, because the words sound vaguely similar. The peregrine falcon, as you may or may not be aware, is, I think, the fastest animal on Earth. It's a bird of prey, native to the British Isles, amongst other places. And there was also an incredible book written by J.A. Baker about them. And you might ask, why? Why do you mention this? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it was included on a list of books which... on a list of reviews made by Patrick Stewart of False Machine. And whose most recent post, to make it to 5 on Friday, was a compilation of those reviews. And I've just been going through and looking at those and going, read, not read, not read, not read, and that's just a post. Often I may have read the book, but not the review. Sometimes the review, not the book, and in many cases neither. So Patrick Stewart, in his post I Read Books, has provided us all with his own kind of appendix in a way. Not that any of these that directly influenced his work, but I'm sure the fact that he's read them have indirectly influenced the content that he's produced. So, go and have a look at that. Also, there's some funny, very funny stuff here. Not least, there's a book by Gaston Bachelard on the list, which Patrick has included D&D elements, and it's a totally normal thing to do, but I just find it hilarious that I can't imagine what Gaston Bachelard would have made of that. Incidentally, Gaston Bachelard wrote one of my favourite books, which is The Poetics of Space. And there's another weird segue back to this list, in that the foreword to the most recent edition of that book was by one Mark Z. Danielewski. And I say Z and not Z because I think in names it sounds kind of better. Like, if I said Poppy Z Bright, it's just not right, is it? No, Poppy Z Bright, that's sort of fun. Anyway, the reason why that amuses me is because Danielewski is also the author of House of Leaves, another book which I haven't read, but a book which is included on this list. So, yeah, that ties together. I mean, that's supposedly like the book that hipster nerds are supposed to read, so I should probably be reading that at some point. I probably will this year, but there's tons of other stuff there, including like some books about the history of Highland people between in the border between Thailand and Myanmar, which looks utterly intriguing because it's about the idea of one of the things proposed is a concept of ethnic fluidity, which I think is really fascinating. Anyway, I didn't even mention the link between the Peregrine and this reading list and me. Egotist that I am, I think I'm just going to indulge myself by describing that story. A little while ago, I was working for an architecture firm in Ho Chi Minh City, and some money was made available for training. The training courses were all in Vietnamese. My Vietnamese is not good enough to justify wasting money on me sitting there and trying to translate everything ad hoc. It would be an utter disaster. Although I must say my Vietnamese has improved immensely since then, but nonetheless, I asked if I could just spend it on an online course, and then found a course by Frank Gehry on the Masterclass website. Due to some delays, I was afforded the opportunity to have like a free pass and could enroll on any of the online courses they were providing, one of which was a film course by Werner Herzog. Now, I say course, it was really a series of pre-recorded snippets with a PDF workbook and some exercises for you to complete. It was still fucking awesome. I don't think I would have paid for it out of my own pocket, but it was really, really worthwhile. And I look forward to someone pirating those and making them available online again in the future. One of the exercises was to read this book by J.A. Baker, and then to go out and observe a person or place or a thing and write 10 pages of prose about your observations, which I didn't quite ascend to the peregrine heights of J.A. Baker, but Patrick's assessment that this is some of the best prose ever written in the English language is, I completely agree with it, and Herzog does too. So we're all in good company with each other, and maybe we too will get parts in The Mandalorian, or failing that, minor role in Rick and Morty. Finally, this is gonna be a hyper short piece, but I'm just included on this list Luca Regic's blog, Wizard Fighter Thief. It's a post, a little bit discourse about treating the Dungeon Master and more as a player, which I think is worth looking into and reading and considering, and thinking about the role of collaborative world building, etc. All good discourse, but the real reason I've included this is because right at the end of this nice bit of prose, there's a sneak preview, which has probably been broadcast all over social media by now, but there was a preview of the covers of the Ultraviolet Grasslands books. They just look like such beautiful artifacts. I really feel a great sense of loss that I was unable to back this project when it originally kickstarted. I would love to own one of those things. It really is incredible what's happened with print media in terms of the indie printing and self-publishing thing. I think about 10 years ago I would have been quite dismissive of a lot of self-publishing, despite my supposed, bunk credentials. I still felt like there was a seal of quality, of validation that was provided by professional press. But then you get involved, it's like any other kind of DIY scene. Like, I didn't feel that way about music, so why did I feel that way about literature? It's weird. You come in through the gaming scene now and you see what people are making, and it's beautiful. It really is. And these are exciting times to be alive. I mean, outside, maybe the world is burning. I mean, literally in the case of Antipodean and friends. And, well, maybe that's why there's such great art being made right now. Because of some apocalyptic fear. Anyway, probably not worth me talking about that anymore because I'm an idiot. Thank you for listening. Speaking of print RPG DIY stuff, I am of course currently kickstarting an RPG zine called Pariah, which is still open. We're like 200% funded or something, but I'm just about to set a new stretch goal. If we make that, we can get the acclaimed editor Fiona Geist, aka FM Geist, on board to give a final bit of polish to my prose, and that would really make me happy if we could do that. Also, I'm contributing to a project by Chuffed Chuffer, author of the Sexually Transmitted Centipedes blog, on a zine entitled Centipedes, and I've contributed kind of a monster and a bit of fiction. I'm not sure if the fiction's going to make it because it's a little bit long, and I don't want to take up half a zine with my story. I felt good. It was good. It was fun to write. So all of these links are obviously on aloneinthelabyrinth.blogspot.com, but you can also find links in the podcast description. All right. This has been Sofinho, DM in Excel. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, just as a coder, I appreciate your patience. I have decided just to keep going with this, even if it is kind of unprofessional. I hesitate a great detail. I stumble over my words. I'm probably not naturally gifted at vocal performance in any manner, and yet I've thrust myself into it on numerous occasions. Also, I don't know what happened, but I can't seem to pronounce the R anymore. And I know you foreigners think that's a uniquely British thing, but even for a Brit, I cannot get the R sound out. Really? It's terrible. Anyway, please don't hesitate to let me know how you think I'm doing by calling in or leaving a message or writing on my blog or Twitter, all the rest of it. Okay, that's all. Thank you, people. Until next time, goodbye.